Hey, I want you to raise your hand if you feel like you have some challenges with time management. I'll raise both of them because I'm just that confident in being honest with myself that it's a challenge. And as a person who is going to be fitting graduate school into your life, it's important that you begin to develop strategies, to listen to tips, to implement some things in your life that's going to make this process much easier. And I got something to share with you that I think is going to help you along the way. Stay tuned. Hello, good people. Welcome back to Tech Tip Tuesdays. It's your boy, Dr. Justin Grimes, here to speak on today's topic, creating a time management plan for work, life, and grad school. Congratulations on your decision to pursue your graduate degree. Please know that in making this decision, some things are gonna have to change, okay? It doesn't matter if you are a person who likes to get work done early and in incremental steps, that's me, or you are a type of person who's a procrastinator, like many folks that I know who pursue graduate degrees. It doesn't matter if you're great with being able to separate things out into blocks, or if you are the type of person that is like, it doesn't matter how much time you give me, I'm still gonna wait till the last minute. Every person who pursues this degree is going to be met with a point where they're feeling a bit overwhelmed, managing everything that's happening in their life, whether you're a full-time student or you're a full-time employee pursuing this. And so I want to use something to help you in this process. I want you to enter this prompt into ChatGPT because we are going to create a plan that you can implement starting this week. There's a space and time between when you apply and when you start. And oftentimes, people don't develop any type of plans or strategies for how to make changes and shifts into their schedule and their calendar in this time period. They just go from I've applied, I've got admitted, and then boom, next thing you know, I'm starting school. And this can lead to, for some people, being very overwhelmed, feeling very challenged by their time, and they're just overall struggling. And I don't want you to be in that place. And this is why we have this prompt for today. One of the things that you read in this prompt, it says that it's here to help you create a plan for balancing. Notice that it did not say balance, because you're going to be times where something's going to get more of you and something's going to get less of you. And I want you to start thinking about what that may look like for you. What changes you will need to make within your schedule, what boundaries you will need to set in order for you to be successful in this graduate school journey. And this prompt is going to help you with doing that. The first section talks about practical scheduling tips. I want you to be thinking about practically, like being honest with yourself and saying, when I do my best work as a student, as an academic, I need this amount of time. By now, you know yourself well enough to know how long it takes you to work on things. You know when you tend to start on things, when you finish them, you know your stressors, you know your triggers. And now that you know this information about yourself, we're going to do something completely different than compared to what we've done in the past. Because again, you're now making this fit within your life, and your life is already structured in a way where school may not be the number one priority, especially if you work for a living. So you're now going to have to think through, what am I going to need practically in order for this to work? What this looks like could be, what time of day do I want to do my reading for class? Do I want to do this earlier in the morning? Do I want to do it in between breaks, like maybe at a lunch break I'm reading? Do I want to do it in the afternoon or evening? Do I want to do it at night when the kids and everybody else is asleep? When do you want to do your reading and your research? Like, what days of the week do you have the most availability in order to work on your stuff? Do you know that based on the schedule of your life and maybe your family and the other things that are going on, that Tuesdays are a good segment of time that you can block out Great. Then on that Tuesday, we're going to carve out 2 or 3 hours, but we're not just going to just say we're going to sit down and work on something for 2 to 3 hours. We're going to put breakdowns within that. Hour one, we're going to read. Hour two, we're going to write. Hour three, we're going to plan for the article we're going to study again, or the article we're going to write, or a conference proposal we're going to submit. You're going to close all of those tabs for things that are not related to your academic time that you're doing this. This is how you schedule time practically. Those individuals who are real intentional with their time are able to get more accomplished, okay? And here's one of my favorite things. Get you one of these, a timer. Mine is an octagon. You see how it's broken down, okay? And then it gives you the time. When it's done, guess what? It's done, okay? Get you something like that that can be really helpful and useful for you in this part of the process. And let me be honest and transparent with you. There are going to be moments where you're going to experience burnout. You're going to be tired. You're going to feel like I don't feel like reading another thing. I can't add another thing in there. I've been there. Trust me. And if you start thinking through what you need to do ahead of time, what it looks like, what leads to that point. Because here's the thing that I know. Most individuals know when they're about to experience a burnout. They know that they've been acting from a place of avoidance around a whole lot of things, especially academic avoidance. It is real and it happens. Oh, I got enough time. I'll work on that assignment later. Oh, that's going to take me too long, so I'm not going to work on that right now. Oh, I'm just going to wait on my group member to follow up. I'm just going to wait on my faculty member to send me that email. And then next thing you know, other things start coming up for your work, for your job, for your family that you did or did not plan for. And you begin to keep doing that over and over again, this avoidance. And next thing you know, you find yourself feeling burnt out with school. And sometimes what happens when people experience academic burnout or burnout in life in general, they start removing things that they feel are not necessary in order for them to live. And one of those things if it comes to a competition between my job, my family, and my school, you guess which one is going to go away. I've got to work in order to live. And my work to live is contingent upon my family having certain things, me having certain things. So the academic is going to likely be the one that's going to go. And I don't want you to reach that point. I think it's very preventable, but people don't do the things we talked about in part one around developing some scheduling tips so that they don't experience that. Because they're not being intentional with their time, because they're not making adjustments, they begin to feel overwhelmed. And that's going to happen sometimes throughout this process. But you know that the end goal is just as important as the beginning and everything in between that process. So I want you to think about what it's telling you in terms of burnout prevention strategies. Which of these can you use? Which of these do you know right now, man, if I just did that today, that would make my life so much easier. It would allow me to have space and time to go do some things that I really want to do. It would allow me to have space and time to go to engage in the hobbies that I want to read, to relax, to rest, to hang out. Like, if you just really think about things that will help you to prevent burnout, you will feel a lot better about this process, okay? Part 3 talks about organizational tools. As it relates to time management, what are the organizational tools that you may need? It may look like certain apps that you have. Like if you're the type of person who doesn't use an electronic calendar, a Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, Android Calendar, and you don't use that, maybe that's a part of the organizational tools you need. If you're the type of person who writes everything down, maybe you need to start creating some boxes in there that are checklists to help you remain organized. Part of the time management piece is even organizing your materials, the things that are needed in order for you to do your work for school. So what organizational tool or app are you going to use? Are you going to use OneNote? Are you going to put everything on a Google Doc or a Word doc or a spreadsheet? What's needed and necessary for students to be successful in your program? Because the more you think about this right now, if you haven't started, or you make changes if you're already in school, the better this process is going to be for you. I'm never going to pretend like everything's going to be perfect and that if you follow everything to the T, you won't have no stresses, because that's not realistic. Things happen in life. But if you work through thinking through the organizational tools, my favorite was OneNote. I kept everything on Microsoft OneNote, and I had tabs for every class. I kept a running list of things that were needed and necessary for that class, my notes, my thoughts, my questions for a class. And then here's the other part. I had a whole separate tab of homework assignments and things that I needed to work on. And then I would take that, put that into my Microsoft calendar that I was using at the time, and then say, here's where I'm going to work on that assignment. We have so many more tools that allow us to be more efficient in organizing our time and organizing things that we do every day. And I want you to use those, y'all. I don't want you to continue to approach the academic side of what you're about to engage in the way that you do your professional work. These are two different spaces, but you can do this, okay? With that being said, y'all, thank you so much for joining me on this week's Tech Tip Tuesday. I feel good that if you use this prompt, it's going to reveal a lot to you. And it's going to give you some helpful tools, some strategies. And here's the thing. I want you to be committed to it, and I want you to be consistent. We have 24 hours in a day, 168 in a week. And we will prioritize things that we think are the most important for us to do. And we will not make excuses about the things that we want to do and the things we need to do. What we will do is remain what again? Committed and consistent to utilizing these tools. And if you have questions about how to organize your time, your schedule, reach out to me. Now, here's my bonus tip, the one I tell every single person when they're getting ready to prepare for grad school. I want you to carve out 1 hour for 3 to 5 days a week where you are going to dedicate time to reading and writing. I want you to read, free read anything you enjoy or things related to your field. Then I want you to write about what you read. So it could be a 30-30, a 40-20, a 50-10. It doesn't matter how you use your hour, but I want you to use your hour 3 to 5 days a week, focusing on becoming an avid reader and writer so that you can work through some of those concerns around your writing. And then spend some time later on reading what you wrote and sharing with other people. Hey, there's this cool thing that I just read this article about. Let me share with you. Get in the habit of doing this, because if you're doing this before you start, guess what? You're just going to take that hour and this will become the intentional time you use to focus on your work. That's a bonus tip. That's the one that I use. That's the one I tell everybody to use. And they're like, thank you so much. I'm so glad that I used that ahead of time, because I can see how I can begin to be feeling overwhelmed through this process. And you made it much more realistic, much more practical, and much more helpful, Dr. Grimes. So that when I started my semester, I didn't experience the same things that my classmates were. I didn't have the same look. I didn't have the same energy as them, because I came in feeling really good and prepared, because I had already prepared myself mentally and physically to do it.